crazy. I didn't do nothing.
We saw him! Yeah, that's him. He's the one! He's the one! The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it! The Warriors did it!
Remember after somebody shot Cyrus, I forget the name of the gang that really did it, but the crowd blamed a gang called the Warriors, and as a result, you had every gang in the city hunting down the Warriors. Witch hunts. Witch hunts are usually an environment primed for mania, crazy, people who are not thinking clearly. Witch hunts are usually conducted by insane people who are just as guilty as the ones they're trying to hunt down. Witch hunts hide the paranoia within a crowd. They look for a scapegoat. And I'll bring up witch hunts again later.
Three of a kind. Let's do this.
That's it? 3 guys?
2 guys on the roof. Every guy gets a share. 5 shares is plenty.
6 shares. Don't forget the guy playing the job.
He thinks he can sit it out and still take a slice. I know why they call him the Joker.
So why do they call him the Joker? I heard he wears makeup. Makeup? Yeah, to scare people. You know, war paint. Here comes the silent alarm, and there it goes. That's funny, it didn't dial out to 911. It was trying to reach a private number. Is it a problem? No, I'm done here.
They wired this thing up with like 5,000 volts. What kind of bank does that?
A mob bank. I guess the Joker's as crazy as they say. Where's the alarm guy?
Boss told me when the guy was done, I should take him out. One less share, right?
Funny, he told me something similar.
No!
What happened to the rest of the guys?
That was to give you an idea about the next clip I'm going to play. And I've played it before, but this time I'm going to play it a bit longer because I want you to hear something. And I'm going to play it 2 or 3 times. Now, what is one of the things that we've been hearing about the internet as far as what the government supposedly has a problem with? Right. Data harvesting. This is supposedly a problem and one of the reasons that they came after Facebook and other sites. Governments, not just the United States, but governments been saying data collecting is wrong. Selling our info to companies is foul play, they say. And links to this will be in the description box so that you don't think that this guy I'm going to play for you, that this is just him talking. I'm going to have a few links down there.
While the European Union is tightening its noose around the tech giants, the bloc has released a new set of rules with some pretty hefty fines. The regulation bans targets advertising that is aimed at children. Data such as religion, gender, race and political opinions will have to be tackled with sensitivity. The act also aims at stopping people from giving their personal data to companies online. The rule is aimed at companies like Alphabet, Meta and other large online platforms. They will have to do more to tackle illegal content. Now, under this rule, company could of course face fines of up to almost about 6% of their global turnover. And repeated breaches could even see them be banned from doing business. In case of violation, the companies could be forced to hand over data related to their algorithms to researchers. The lawmakers have agreed that the war in Ukraine is a reminder of how online platforms will have to alter their policies during times of crisis. All of this is being done to end fake news and manipulative content that can harm users. In case of violation, the companies could be forced to hand over data. In case of violation, the companies could be forced to hand over data. In case of violation, the companies could be forced to hand over data.
Turn over the data that they've harvested to your local governments. Like sending some folks in to rob a bank, then afterwards you shoot them in the head to keep the loot for yourself. Or like what they did with the numbers game. It was illegal. It took a lot of people to jail for that. Then turned it to what we know today as the lottery. The Las Vegas Strip that came about in a very similar fashion. Or like Robin Smith came to my comment board and said that thieves don't like to see other thieves with a full sack. Now, maybe about a week ago, I played a clip of Obama speaking on how governments are going to get rid of what's called Section 230. Obama is for it. And whoever don't know, Section 230 essentially allows us to be us. Section 230 is like one of those slip and fall signs businesses will have to say. They'll put them up to say, if you fall, that's your ass, not ours. Right. Or one of those signs we see in parking lots that'll say the property owner is not responsible for any theft of your property on our premises. Right. That's what Section 230 gives to the internet providers. Right. And I listened to the entire hour of Obama, and in between his devilish intentions, he managed to say a thing or two that I agree with. Here's one of them.
Not just its corporate leaders, but employees at every level have to be part of the solution. The essence of this place, what put Silicon Valley on the map, is a spirit of innovation. It's what led to the globally integrated internet, all its remarkable applications. What we've now learned is the product has some design flaws. There's some bugs in the software. We don't have to just leave it like that. Through the same spirit of innovation, we can make it better. So I want to make some general suggestions for what that work might look like. But before I do, let me offer a few stipulations so we don't get bogged down in some well-worn, not always productive arguments. Number one, media companies, tech companies, social media platforms did not create the divisions in our society, here or in other parts of the world. Social media did not create racism or white supremacist groups. Didn't create the kind of ethno-nationalism that Putin's enraptured with. It didn't create sexism, class conflict, religious strife, greed, envy, all the deadly sins. All these things existed long before the first tweet or Facebook poke. Solving the disinformation problem won't cure all that ails our democracies or tears at the fabric of our world. But it...
Exactly. Even the devil will tell the truth sometimes, but that truth that's told by the devil won't be for the better. It'll be to deceive. The witch hunts, people searching for a villain, claiming it's the internet, kill it, kill it, kill it with fire so we can get back to a peaceful, loving society. And please protect our children too. Please. Because child protection is their main mask they're using to hide their dictatorish-like intentions. But you heard it. Even the devil himself said that we've had these problems long before the World Wide Web came along. Something else he said I can get with, and what he said was as obvious as the sun is bright.
I may be out of a job. That's the information environment we now live in. It's not just that these platforms have, with narrow exceptions, been largely agnostic regarding the kind of information available and connections made on their sites. It's that in the competition between truth and falsehood, cooperation and conflict, the very design of these platforms seems to be tilting us in the wrong direction. And we're seeing the results. I already mentioned the 2020 presidential election. President Trump's own Attorney General has said that the Justice Department uncovered no evidence of widespread voter fraud. A review of the ballots in Arizona's largest county, the results of which were endorsed by some pretty courageous local Republicans, because many of them harassed and received death threats, actually found more votes for President Biden and fewer votes for President Trump. And yet today, as we speak, a majority of Republicans still insist that President Biden's victory was not legitimate. That's a lot of people. In Myanmar, it's been well documented that hate speech shared on Facebook played a role in the murderous campaign targeting the Rohingya community. Social media platforms have been similarly implicated in fanning ethnic violence in Ethiopia, far-right extremism in Europe. Authoritarian regimes and strongmen around the world, from China to Hungary, the Philippines, Brazil, have learned to conscript social media platforms to turn their own populations against groups they don't like, whether it's ethnic minorities, the LGBTQ community, journalists, political opponents. And of course, autocrats like Putin have used these platforms as a strategic weapon against democratic countries that they consider a threat.
Absolutely. We've been asking for trouble. No, not asking for trouble. Begging for trouble. We're pretty pleased with sugar on top. Don't stop us. No telling how far we'll go. Right? Yeah, we've been getting worse and worse on each other on here with no stoppage in sight. We're not going to stop ourselves. So yeah, there should be some intervention. But you got to watch what the devil says, even when speaking the truth. Obama and his ilk are up to no good. And welcoming them to intervene would be the same as being okay with a fox guarding the hen house. The censorship is not about protecting any of us. It's about achieving all-out authoritarianism over the public. Let's look at one of the people that Biden put in charge.
Solutions that can deliver. We're actually going to do 100 rules this year alone on appliances, just like you asked. We are developing partnerships on how we work together for new building standards, even for sustainable airlines. Who'd have thunk that they'd be all in, but they better be or they're going to be out of here, right? If you disagree, you're out of here. 100 more rules, she said. That was Gina McCarthy, Biden's climate advisor. And I played that clip because there are people on here who be thinking, well, what does that have to do with me? I ain't no plane. I ain't no appliance. What that got to do with me? See, that's why I played that. There are people who think like that. These are the citizenry of the internet who think that the censorship thing is about getting rid of bad people, when really, it's not. Bad people are the excuse that they're using to seize free thought and speech, guilty of something or not. All of us are what governments are categorizing as influencers, or in other words, all are enemies of the state. Now, a while back, I did a video on my other channel, and in the title, I had the word heterophobia. About maybe 2 weeks after I did the video, I went to respond to a comment somebody put on the board, but I accidentally clicked on the video itself, and I noticed something. Couldn't help but see it. It was so big. You know, I've seen this before on a lot of people's videos, but my slow self thought that, you know, maybe the uploader signed up for maybe some promotional program or something. My dumb ass. But when it was on my video, I said, oh, hell no. I didn't do that. I know I didn't do it. I didn't do this. Right? I didn't put this here. And it was one of those Wikipedia balls underneath my video. I call it a fact checker ball. Why was it there? Because I had climate change in the title. I titled the video, Heterophobia and Climate Change. Just the words climate change got me fact checked. And in that video, I was talking about the woke mob and their various antics. That was the change in climate I talked about in the video.
there was not a single mention of fossil fuels, landfills, ocean pollution, air pollution, electric cars, nothing. Not a single word about ice caps melting or forest fires or nothing. Right? I was talking about the climate of the weirdization of America. Like when people say, like when people can't say what a woman is, or that men could have babies too. You know, that type of climate. Climate change was only in the title. So don't just think that they're fact-checking climate change talk or medical talk or just checking for hate speech or child predators. Checking a lot of stuff. I saw them even fact-checking videos that have reptilian in the title. This censorship, disinformation governance board thing will include all of our talks and subjects. And they're just getting started.
I'm pleased to announce that we are launching the Justice Department's first ever Office of Environmental Justice to oversee and help guide the Justice Department's wide-ranging environmental justice efforts. Like all parts of government, it will get its own acronym, OEJ. And third, the Justice Department is issuing an interim final rule that will restore the use of an important law enforcement tool, supplemental environmental projects, subject to new guidelines and limitations that I will also be issuing today. Administrator Regan and I know that the communities most impacted by environmental harm are not isolated in any one part of our country. Environmental crime and injustice touch communities in all our cities, towns, rural areas, and on tribal lands. Although violations of our environmental laws can happen anywhere, communities of color, indigenous communities, and low-income communities often bear the brunt of the harm caused by environmental crime, pollution, and climate change. They include communities, fence-line communities, where exposure to toxic air pollutants have caused scores of cancer-related deaths. They include communities where students have been exposed to harmful emissions from boilers in their public schools. They include communities where infectious diseases have spread because of inadequate wastewater management.
Yes, of course. To protect black people, Hispanics, and Native Americans. The perfect cover. But really, it's to create a medical emergency state. A perpetual one, a continuing, ongoing, never-ending state of emergency. That's the real purpose of the climate change czar Biden just conjured up out of thin air. And that's not just here in the United States. It's going on in many other places too. So this is not just about who you don't like on YouTube and getting the government to silence your adversaries. The climate change czar. Listen to how these days everything, or so many things, are being described as harmful. This is harmful, that's harmful, and that thing over there has the potential to be harmful. Now, about 2 weeks ago, Taz had a thumbnail of an email that he got, and that was the same kind of mail that I got about 8 months ago. Now, I've got every kind of flag there is. Even 3 of my channels been terminated. I've got flags for harassment and bullying, sexual nudity, spam, hate speech, copyright. Got flagged for speaking about election tampering, and even flagged for messing with kids. Yeah, they said I was messing with kids. I appealed it and they put it back up, but they age restricted it, right? All I did was show 2 kids arguing, right? But I've got every kind of strike, but this one was the first. The same one that Taz had in his thumbnail. I got that one. This one was the first for me. Right? And they didn't even send it to me. Well, yeah, they did send it to me. But I didn't get a notification for it. And a flag notification is big and bright. You can't overlook it because it's right there staring you in the face. You can't overlook that. You can't not see it. I was never, well, yeah, it was sent to me. But they just slid it in my Gmail with no notice. And I just so happened to come across it when I was looking for something else. And again, you can't not notice a flag notification. It's too big with a big red thing on it. You gotta see that. You can't miss that. You can't gloss past that. As a matter of fact, You can't even use your account until you click that box, because it'd be a little check box right there. You got to click that box acknowledging that you got the notification. They freeze your account. You can't comment. You can't do nothing until you click that box. This one, though, no such a thing. They just sneaked it into my Gmail. If this damn thing said, listen to me, if Taz got one of these too, he used it as his thumbnail, right? And this is an example of what I mean when I said, if you're guilty or not, enemy of the state. This damn thing said, although you have not violated our community guidelines, we feel this content has the potential to be harmful to others. It ain't finished. I ain't finished. This thing went on to say, so we will put your video on private for you. Put it on private for me. Why? So I can't harm you. Not in violation of any community guidelines. It said that. This climate where everything will be deemed offensive and potentially harmful. Guilty before we even do anything.
And when that didn't work, they jumped out of their building windows, hopefully to get some attention. Yeah, here's your drone in Shanghai. Listen to this. Yep. Coming to a city near you.
Those who refuse are subjected to force. Chinese health officials are barging into homes to hunt down violators. Even the elderly are not spared, like this woman. She was pushed out of her home to take a test.
Many in China, many in Shanghai decided, I would rather die than live in this communist nightmare any longer. And so you just hear the screams of the tormented souls. Those are the sounds of hell. Those are the sounds of the New World Order. You want to know what hell sounds like? You want to know what the New World Order sounds like? It's both the same. The screaming of innocence, the screaming of humanity, tortured souls and bodies.
That climate change czar. You see them people in China running around with biosuits on, hunting people down. It's on its way here. Medical martial law. And this censorship thing has little to nothing to do with hate speech or slut shaming or online bullying or tracking down child predators or who you don't want to see with the platform to speak on here, who you don't like on here. This is not just about speech. It's about them wanting to intrude upon all areas of human activity, education, entertainment, employment, sex. Yes, your finances too. They want that too. Yeah, employment, sex, religion, and all else, including one's overall personal privacy. Yeah, they're working on that too. It's about no freedom of any kind. But people are welcoming this. And to those, all I'm saying is,
Stop him! Get him!
let it die! He wants you too, Malachi.